Hey everyone, this is Matt from Love and Music Career Center, and I am joined today by one of my career specialists or music career specialist, Jake. He is in Barcelona. I thought we'd have some time to chat a little bit about some of the music industry and rant. We tend to have these rants during our unrecorded conversations, but I think it makes sense for us to share these with our artists and know that they have support. There's other people like them, and they're not alone in this world. So, thanks for joining me today, Jake.
Thanks to you for inviting me.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things that really sparked this conversation as a let's do this is some of your recent posts that you've been sharing on Instagram, and I know we just got done kind of catching up on Miami Music Week and your experience there, and something I'm totally jealous of missing. That any EDM festival or any kind of music week sounds like a great time to me.
Yeah, it
um,
is actually.
my aunt lives in Vegas, and one of these days I'll get to EDC. But until then, here I am. So, but you mentioned one of the first posts I wanted to touch base on was talking about how the three major labels have, in some capacity, publicly admitted that they're not feeling like they have any idea how to break new artists either. And in order to like kind of use that term or that admission, that confession, to kind of help support independence and know that we obviously are all on the same page. We are all on the same playing field, and no one's above the music law, I guess, in this case. So I just kind of wanted to get you more of your sentiments around that as a working musician and producer.
Yeah, totally. I share that because, contrarily to what one might think, I feel very enthusiastic about that. Because when you realize that the guys that are supposed to know that are publicly admitting that they do not know, then it's like, okay, we're like you said, we're all on the same page, and I might know more than you. Also, I might add that, in my opinion, it's one big illusion that we got through last 70 years that there were guys who knew how to do it. When you break an artist, it's always partially something that you can't control. There is no major superstar that you can really break down all the details why these people have so broadly reached all over the world. It doesn't make sense logically. Now, what's the point for me is that we know that the system, the previous business model was supported by the record sales. So everything that we see was because the margins on record sales is that I know that I put it out there $500,000, and then the margins of producing a record, this $500,000 for recording, publicity, preparing the tour, whatever, by thinking I'm thinking that this artist can sell 50,000 copies, 100,000 copies, a million copies. You can make like an assessment study, a plan that actually talks business. As of today, you can reason in terms of streams, but you know that the margins are, let's not even talk about that. So that led me to ask myself, what are we really selling today as an artist? And actually, the question is that we're no longer selling a product because there is no product. And there's also another quote by James Blake. I don't know if you heard that. He said, people got brainwashed. So now the brainwash got complete. So people are now thinking the music is for free.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's how we behave. And I'm going to add one more thing in a couple of minutes, adding to that. But the problem is that today we work with our image and with our perception because the product is us. It's all a personal branding, and that's why major record labels are trying to turn every artist into an influencer. Because without that, they can't work. They can't sell shows and something like that. So that article, I wrote that quote because I'm preparing like mentoring for artists to really find their focus and work, especially on the mentality. We've talked about that a lot in our group sessions. You know that how strongly I believe that it's a matter of mentality and acquiring skills that are not all the time taught in music schools when you're learning an instrument, when you're approaching to music. And that was simply to state, guys, it's about time we stop believing that there's someone who knows and someone who doesn't know. There are some things that are the same for everybody. There's some like communication, marketing, and knowing how to connect, how to avoid scams. But as of today, the business model that these people built and they supported is no longer working, and they're so big that they can't do the ones finding a new one, because they will need to do. And I don't even fully blame them, because they have a structure. They have some people, even though they're firing people every month for what I heard. But no human. I mean, every empire eventually falls,
Yeah.
and no empire has ever come to change themselves dramatically and drastically before the fall comes. So this is simply written. And just to conclude that, the more I study about the last 2-3 centuries of music business and how artists really monetized and made a living out of that, I simply believe that it was an anomaly. The last 70 years were an anomaly, period. We thought that being an artist was that thing and that thing only. And those scalable business was apparently possible for anyone who could sing, play an instrument, and that was actually the ultimate goal. We all should aim to be that thing. I simply believe that this is not true. This is not the only possibility. This is not even probably in some cases the best possibility, because we've been seeing how Hollywood and the industry has been on a downfall. The P Diddy parties, Jennifer Lopez is not singing her songs. So we've been, this is like a call to awareness, guys. Some things were true. A lot of other things weren't true. We did believe that. It's about time we wake up. That's
I
the way
agree.
that.
Going back to your first comment about like not knowing how to measure things, I had this conversation with somebody else about something non-music related around like brand perception and the value around something. You can't. There's not a metric to measure everything. There's something that comes from the influential, like what's the first impression someone makes in your head, and why influencers are actually, um, you know, impactful or effective, because they may not have anything to sell, but the moment someone starts to like, yeah, you agree with, it's almost like I want to say it's like almost political, but you start to pick things that you believe in, or like the hate your scene belief systems, that becomes your community. And also with the whole artist thing being a personal brand, it definitely makes sense, because you're more focused on the direct to fan, the community building. You're building a community around yourself. The music is almost just like a delivery method, not delivery driver, delivery method that would, ultimately connect the community. But that's like the language of the community, if anything. Yeah.
It is. And actually, I had a kind of a fight a couple of weeks ago with the producer of an artist that supposedly he did everything, he knows everything, but the kind of guy that whose cynicism is probably to compensate. I mean, he says that he's happy with his past, but probably he's not, so that's why it's so harsh on the comments. And the thing is that we wanted the art and music to be free. Now we got it. It's possible. But man, you got to roll with that. Whenever you don't have somebody huge behind you putting the money and the investment, so okay, you don't have that thing, but also there is no possibility that somebody owns you and owns your project, because whenever somebody puts the money, they own you. And that's what everybody complains about. Oh my God, I got signed with this label and they got the 8% of that, and they left me with nothing. And I didn't know that I got screwed. Now we have the possibilities, like you said, to channel our message, our vision as an artist, to be also an involved artist in the society, contributing. I am keeping reminding myself that that speech that Steve Jobs gave 20 and something years ago. Marketing is about values. As of today, I think of myself as an artist, like an artist is about values. So find yours and use music to channel and to spread those values. Because without that, man, there is no need for new music. There's too much out there, and there's going to be even more with the AI. So
Don't
new
get me started
music,
on AI.
exactly. New music is nothing what we need about. We need values and we need artists, real people, because the robots will start flooding the streets. So, but on the other hand, yeah, that's also, in my opinion, it's interesting in some other parts of the world, not just in music, that when you got like a glimpse of freedom, then you complain because daddy or whoever puts the money is no longer there. So
Yeah.
now you're on your own. It all depends on you. And that's why like I said, I'm enthusiastic because I'm kind of guy that likes responsibilities and likes knowing that, okay, if it's all or almost all up to me, then I gotta move my ass because that's what it is.
Going back to the comment about like how the music's been an anomaly for the last 70 years, and before that it was just, that it's that cultural piece, but no one made money off of it. And that applies to the painting art, the visual art. And now if you apply it in the same way, it's almost like things like Patreon and any kind of like ticket sales or live show tickets or any kind of purchases, even merch, could be seen as like I'm going to donate to this art gallery of sound. Like, I mean, it's almost like that's the way to get in, because otherwise the whole label thing was, let's capitalize music, but you
Exactly.
really never got to do that in the way like you were talking about fashion being that way or any other industry being that way. So,
and he also mentioned something that in the like 17th, 18th century, music was mainly supported by patrons. That in that case was the state, the church, or some very wealthy person. So right now, possibly we're going back to a model in which music is supported directly by patrons.
mm-hmm.
Of course, not anyone might have like a one wealthy patron, but you might have a lot more that contribute in a smaller way, but they still contribute to that. Because this huge corporation having like a direct interest and a lot of great margins to invest in music in order to get a return on investment that was the record sale, it's something that it's not possible. And I'm not a film industry expert, but I'm kind of following also. I got on my TikTok, which you guys, I hear that probably you won't see for a long time. But I see a lot
I
of,
never I
yeah.
never got on it, so I'm not sad at the moment.
So you won't miss it. You won't miss it for sure if it's gone. But I receive a lot on my feed, a lot of industry previous workers like editors, producer, executive producers, screenplayers, and something like that, that are saying we're out of a job. We can't pay our mortgages anymore because TV shows, movies, and all this kind of stuff is no longer. I mean, there's not anymore that flow of investments that were made all of this possible. So yeah, I think that it's happening at a different levels, not just in music, that where
Yeah.
there is three, four, five major corporations that move basically the earth. Now it's probably more horizontal, more fragmented, but that's what it is. So that's why it's even more important for you to build your network, to connect, to spread, because you won't have one or two clients that are paying a lot, but you need to have a lot of connections because you're drawing from a piece from each of them. It's more stressful, yeah, but again, nobody
More
forced
realistic.
you to do this life. So
Yeah,
if you
more
like it,
realistic.
yeah, exactly, and it worked. I mean, if you change your mentality and you just reason as an entrepreneur, like a small entrepreneur knows that, and he doesn't complain about it. So he knows that he is not supposed to have just one or two clients because you never know when one goes broke, when one disappears, when you fight with another one. So you gotta have more, incomes, more skills, more products to sell. And in music, it's the same.
Yeah, no, On that same note, the fact that like, that's why the true fan model is so popular in terms of like spreading out your supporters. You have your
Yeah.
Patreon base. That's your donators, the people who support you in your community. And from um that aspect, like we know that there's all the corporate fund that could be filtered into it. But as that goes away with all the direct stuff and the community stuff and the connection building, what are some of the top ways that you see like for achieving a stable monetization for an artist now, besides from like just Patreon?
Look, I'm honest. For the return, I mean, reaching the break-even point in music, if you start from top scratch or from one basic skill like you know how to sing. Yeah, I mean, you're a good singer, you're a good guitar player. Is the break-even is probably, in my opinion, is not even within the first 5 years.
Mm,
That doesn't mean that you can't get it before, but you have to think that for a long time this thing will not pay off entirely. What I do believe and touch with hands is that when you start investing in the right way, in a very smart way, you don't just buy fancy stuff or a new guitar or a $2,000 audio interface, which you can do the same thing with a $500, and you invest in getting people talk about you, in getting publicists, in getting like mentorships that are teaching you. Like for example, right now I was telling before this call, I'm now getting introduced in fashion because there are like private events are like a huge world. And private events, a lot of time people think about like a wedding party or like the birthday party of someone's daughter. Yeah, there's also those kind of private parties, but brands and corporations are still doing huge parties. I remember going one of the DJs that I played with. He had like an individual gig one night at a private party organized by ICOS. It's the vape thing. I don't know if
okay.
you got that thing.
Yeah.
Man, they got a budget of 100,000 euro for that single event, and there were,
Wow.
3, 4,000 people. So as a DJ, he got to play in front of those people. And then there was a major exhibition in my hometown about horses. It's a huge event, and he got to play after Bob Sinclair and 3 more thousand people. So these kind of things are more frequent than you would think. Of course, you need to work on your connections, on your
Hmm.
credibility, because I'm not hiring an artist for such events if his numbers, Instagram, or everything, and not because I am a number driven artist, but it's because something must be presentable. And guys, we all do the same when we go buying something or we want to hire like a photographer for our wedding. We're not hiring the first guy who can, post a couple of shots that we like. We want a professional, we want something, and somebody whose background is like supported by credibility, because I don't want him or her to screw up on the very day of the event. So for me, monetization is about selling B2B. So whatever skill you master, you will be selling to artists, because it might be a surprise for a lot of people, but the majority of the business and music is B2B. It's not B2C, period. Because even if you think about it, even when a song by a famous artist is licensed for a movie, that is a B2B. That's not a
Hmm.
B2C. And that single artist might get like even 15, 20,000. I'm not talking about ACDC or even Dragons. I mean, you could be licensing your song for $5,000, $15,000. And it's something that, I mean, you have a very reliable person in your team at 11 that teaches that. And that's possible. So, writing for somebody else, yeah, producing, mixing, mastering, and somebody might say, I don't like doing that. Okay, fine, guys, it's legit. But just know that mastering one skill or playing one instrument is not enough, in my opinion. For what I see, is not enough.
Yeah, I would agree. Going back to your B2B and B2C thing, I know I like how you plugged. Yes, we do have someone here who does that stuff. But I mean, she would argue too the idea that like a lot of songs I haven't heard even unless they're in the credits or something of a movie, and then you go and like Shazam it or you go and identify it with something, and you're like so the B2C market's almost secondary if you've learned about it from a B2B market. So
Yeah, yeah,
it kind of goes from each other, yeah.
exactly. And the way I see it, I don't even care where the money comes from, as long as they're good and I can have a good life out of that. So and especially for what we said before, if the record sales are no longer feeding this market, so you got to know that whatever income you might get from your fans, it might be either from direct support, because even the people thinking about, yeah, the live the gigs are where the real money are. Yeah, but again, if you're a big artist with a huge draw that can sell tickets, it's always about selling. So you don't get a lot of money if no one is attending your shows. So in record industry, you were selling CDs and then you were selling tickets. Now we are no longer selling records, but when you are throwing your own concerts, you have to think about how many tickets I can sell, because less and less venues are now paying up front for artists who do their own music. If you do covers, you do tribute bands or something like that. But then if I have to hire you and I'm a bar, I'm a club or something like that, I mean, we're no longer in the golden era where every business was thriving. I don't even want to blame them, because as an artist, I used to, this bartender or this bar owner didn't give me enough money to pay for my as a cachet for my show. Look around us. Nobody is in the golden era. Business
Mhm.
and economy is not running anywhere. Probably just in Australia. I got some friends living there that the shittiest job that you can get pays $1,000 a week,
Oof.
like washing cars, anything. So you got $4,000, and then if you are two people, like a young couple, you make 8 grand a month by doing the least that you could do, the least. But this is, Australia is so far away, so they have like I don't know, it's like a microcosmo. So it's something that,
Insulated,
yeah. So they have
insulated from the
one.
rest of us.
Yeah, they have one fortune because they are so isolated, and they have that bad luck because they're so isolated. So, but the rest of the world, like Europe, United States, that were the wealthiest part of the world. I mean, I don't know. You are from the United States, so you tell me how it is there. Here, it's not the green land anymore. So,
Yeah, I guess it depends on what city you're in for sure. I mean, although you would say that the music cities are still harder to break into than down the street from me here just because of the saturation. So I think every city almost in the States probably has its own story of
yeah,
what,
yeah,
you could say
probably.
for Europe if that's, you could say that for the entire continent, but yeah.
No, I remember in the United States, I was talking to an artist from Austin, and she said that Austin used to be like a very successful area for artists to break for live music, and now not anymore. It doesn't mean that there's no live situations, but I mean that for you as a new artist that tries to build the fan base, the credibility, and get your stuff going, it's not that easy anymore,
Hmm.
and especially because of a lot of artists that are trying to do the same. So it's competition and inflation, not the monetary inflation, but just the inflation of how many people are doing similar things. So
Yeah.
that's why I see more, and especially because the labels are going down, it's more likely that an artist will buy services from another artist. So
Hmm.
there will always be people learning. So if you know how to produce, how to write, how to arrange, how to mix, to master, how to mentor an artist, these services will be bought from another artist, not from a label. So
I'm going to throw a curveball here because we've been, obviously our main point of topic is having a sustainable career that can pay you what you need to live in this world. But there's going to be artists that are just starting out that are going to go with the whole selling out concept, like capitalizing versus in it for the art. And that's usually where everybody starts until you realize you can't. But like, do you have anything to say in terms of like still staying true to the value of the art while not like giving the impression that you have to do whatever it takes to survive while still having integrity?
For me, I do not agree. I do not think that you have to yield and sell your soul to the devil. You have to split your mind. Like when I think about money, it's about what will help me. So I'm gonna speak for what worked for me. Of course, it's not like a universal truth. I just knew that there were some tasks, some things that I was doing to monetize in order to allow me to do the music that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Period. That's the thing. So I did everything. I sang at the wedding parties. I sang at somebody's daughter's birthday. Everything. Because at the moment in which I wanted to produce my music, I had to go on tour, had to produce a record when I didn't know how to produce myself. I just simply laid down all the possibilities. And if I have to wake up every day and do music, what are the activities that pay off immediately and what aren't? So that's simply simple to me. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how you get control of your music and of your output. Because if I am still making music, singing at a party, at an event, writing music for somebody whose song I don't even like that much, but then when it comes to my moment of creation, I do have all the resources that I need. For me, it works. Now, it's still the dilemma. Oh, so I have to do something that I don't like. Man, that's life. Do you like everything in your life?
No, but what's the underlying passion? The music is the passion, or that particular artistic trait is the passion. But there are going to be things that you do and do not like to make that happen.
Totally, totally. But
Yeah.
that happens. I mean, you love a person. I mean, you have kids. I know that you love them, but aren't there moments in which you would, okay, you
There
get
are
what I
days we
mean?
fill them back, right?
Okay, you get what I mean. So it's that's the mentality that I'm trying to break for artists because we, at a certain level, I feel that what we called frustration was self-entitlement.
Mm.
We thought that being an artist is like, oh my God, I learned myself how to play, how to sing. Now I gotta see the world watching on me and lay like a red carpet under my feet. I don't believe in that. I don't.
Nah. Those are few and far between things, and those are the only things that ever get televised. So that's all you ever see. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly, and that's actually what's feeding, like poison in your project. Because if you're playing basketball and you're applying the rules of football, you're never gonna win, never, and you're getting frustrated so much. So, in my opinion, what we're seeing about the music industry is that so many things aren't simply real, and now the mechanisms that worked are not working anymore. So, if you apply and if you don't want to change your chip, you want to reprogram your motherboard, eventually you're gonna like fail, but like
Mm-hmm.
real failure. Because failure to me is not throwing a project and not being able to carry on the way you expected. It's a always going on process. So the point is monetization. There is a part of my mentoring that I'm preparing. There is like the short term monetization skills and mid to long term monetization skills because you got to know it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's always up to you. When you are your self-entrepreneur and when you are potentially in control of your business, that means that you get the money and you put it wherever you want. You got to know that the origin of money sometimes are not what you would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if you're thinking about as a process, for me, it's helping because I know that if I'm doing something today that I don't enjoy that much, but it's paying off in order to build and grow the other thing that I do love the most, man. And that's something that I ask some artists sometimes. I mean, would you bet 5 to 10 years of your life to be happy the remaining 40?
Mm.
And the most honest ones that said, now that you put it that way, I don't know if I would do that. And it's legit. It's like, yeah, it's cool to be honest. It's cool to
Yeah.
be honest. That's why you don't have to bet entirely. Get a day job. Do it step by step. Watch it growing exponentially, but be ready to make sacrifices and to learn that not unlike unlike life, music is about compromises too. Period.
Would you rather do that, or I just saw a video the other day about how 95% of people seem to think it's the right thing to spend 50 years in a job you don't like and get 10 years of retirement. Well, that's not freedom. That's that's still worse than what
Totally.
you just flip that on its head by spending those 10 years up front and then getting happiness the rest of it. So it sounds better when you put it that way.
Totally. So that says it all. It's just
Yeah.
and that's why it's so important sometimes to put ourselves to keep repeating this quotes, this sentences, because when you put it like that, you cannot not to have a reaction. You can still decide to go back and apply the same model, but then you are a little bit more aware. So if you still decide to do the same, it's up to you. But now you're no longer excused not to know. That's in my opinion what it is.
Definitely. Last thing I want to touch on, I wanted to hear a little bit more about what you're working on, your mentoring program, focusing on mind, soul, and vibrations. I kind of liked how that rolled off the tongue for an Instagram caption, but we could kind of hear a little bit more about what that is.
Well, actually, it's something that's connected to something that I've been doing for a long time. I mean, all my students, whether it's like as a vocal coach or production courses, mixing, mastering, I always realize that it's something like more soulful and vibrational when I try to teach these people, because it's not just like transferring notions and skills, but it's also helping find them like their vision and their reason. Because like we said, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of sacrifice. So if you don't know why you're doing it, you won't, because it seems like useless. So this program actually is composed by 5 sections, and it works on some very specific like this. What are we really selling today? So you learn what branding is, what communication is, and why everything is about communication and the perceived value. There is a very famous quote by a publicist, Rory. I don't remember. It's an English guy. I don't remember the surname. And it says, "We don't buy things for what they are. We buy things for what they mean to us." So when you say that we buy things for what they mean, it means that I have to work on the meaning. As an artist, I have to mean something for other people. Then there is a part about how motivation, discipline, and works in order not to be always wrapped into the, oh, I'm not inspired, so I can't write anything because I'm always waiting for inspiration. And then whenever inspiration doesn't come, you're getting frustrated. So, and I'm throwing down some concept of neuroscience, basic biology of the brain, in order to know what motivation is in terms of biology, because we can help being more motivated, more disciplined, more focused by doing some things, and many people know it, by eating some things, by not eating some other things. So all this matters if you want to live an aware artist life. They all matter. I get a lot of inspiration by the book by Rick Rubin, The Creative Act. I don't know if you read it. It changed my life,
no.
actually. No, it's fantastic. And man, the guy speaks little to none about music, and all the rest is about vibration, getting ideas from the ether, and how much you are a channel. And so you have to clean yourself, and you have to know what your task is. So, and then there are two more modules about how to monetize. Actually, when you know this, when you know what you're actually selling, when you know how to stay motivated and how and what actually kills your motivation. How can you monetize on the short term and on the long run? And then learning what I call the multiverse era, in which there was a good video by Rick Beato on YouTube that says that back in the day we had the monoculture. So in order to break an artist, you threw it on three major channels: press, radio, and TV. Now this thing with the internet, it's like broken down. So some people are like famous on TikTok, but they're no one on Instagram. Some others have millions of streams on Spotify, and then out there they can't sell tickets. So this is the multiverse, knowing that it's okay. You don't have to be anywhere. You don't need to have, because major label wants you to be famous on TikTok, famous on Instagram, famous on YouTube, famous on television. Man, doesn't work that way. Even Taylor Swift, a lot of people made fun. Everybody knows who Taylor Swift is, but they don't know what their songs are. So the point is that that is the fifth module, and the fourth, and the fifth is about exercises in order to train your creativity, and that part of the energy that feeds you, the motivation, and actually your why. I'm working on that. So it's like a mentoring, that like 11, 12 hours mentoring, tailored and customized for each artist, in which we work on your soul, skills, and mentality, because that's the ground where you build your career. Without that, in my opinion, there's no building, because you can learn musical skills. You can learn a lot of notions, but then there is no structure supporting them. Or even worse, there are some false beliefs supporting them. So those skills, you might be a great guitar player, but if you're still thinking that all you're doing is selling records, even if you're not thinking about that, in my opinion, eventually you're gonna, as economically speaking, you're gonna fail, because that says nothing to those who have their clear in mind that they don't need to monetize music, that they just want to make music, period. I did a masterclass this week with a Dutch label, and I was astonished by the quantity of people who were saying, they were kind of surprised when I asked, what's your major struggle? Nobody mentioned economics. And it's like, do you not care making money out of music? And asked them twice. And then the third time, it's like, no, I don't. I want to feel free creating my music. And then perhaps if one day it's like spreading all over and I'm bursting out and I'm breaking, but that's not my major goal. And that made me also realize how much it's important for some people. It's like, man, right now I'm looking to take advantage of my full creative potential. I want to connect with that and with other artists. So the mentoring is about growing and building the very foundations upon which you build a career.
It feels very mastermindy. Like it's an education, but it's also a little bit of a mastermind group.
I should hope so. That's the purpose.
Good. It wasn't just the pure.
I mean, what I know is that it works because it's backed by a lot of years of experiences that, even though it wasn't called like mentoring, and I wasn't like summarizing it in a customized session, but to me, working on the mentality is something that I've always done, and I see how thriving the people are when you work and when you touch those strengths, actually. Because when you change the perspective, you can't say that this is not the best era for making music. It is. It is a fantastic era. You just have to change the perspective. But it's so difficult, and psychology and biology tells us how difficult it is for a human being to change one little behavior. Just one.
Which means that still only a niche within a niche is going to survive in this case, and only human values are good for music, whereas maybe that's where AI music will fail because there's no value in it, and all these things are just tying together from what you talked about.
Totally. I read I read like somebody saying that there is this theory out there about the dead internet, because somebody says that in 2 years from now, 90% of the contents will be generated by AI. So there's gonna be a lot of fake things and a lot of things that are simply not like we're gonna be contacted by somebody writing us an email or on Instagram, and that person is not alive, is not a person. So we're gonna probably mistrust so much the information out there that we're gonna end up, backing off and even disconnecting from the internet. I don't know that it's. I think it's possible. It's plausible for what we see right now. But there is where I'm even more convinced that values can't be created by machines, because right now, if there's something that it's missing in humanity, it's like the human warmth. It's the human connection.
Yeah.
And that thing, art and music, can deliver it so well. And that's why I strongly believe that the artist can become like a pivotal part of the society, because we can provide something that is really necessary out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we gotta train, clean ourselves, and clean our minds first in order to become that person.
Awesome. I was saying the last thing I want to say is, I don't think robots or any kind of AI is really going to be able to, even though they can create music, they can't replace music as a universal language.
No.
To create that warmth and that body and that value. And I totally.
And people that are saying how great AI is to reproduce a song, but they're missing the point. Songs is not about what we're talking about. Songs is just like a bunch of a sequence of notes that a machine can do. But a great song is done by something that is not so tangible. Notes are 12 in different octaves, okay? So they're all the same. But the feeling and what it's possible to put in a song, it's the thing that makes the valuable that song. So that's why I am not those who are looking at the song just like that. I know that we're not speaking the same language. I don't have anything to share with those people, not because I mean anything bad towards them, but simply because they are the first who are seeing the music as like a hollow thing. No, it's not.
I say AI could probably, replace the commercial music aspect.
Totally,
but it
totally.
so can't replace the experiences, the heartbreak, the soul that music is supposed to have from human life and everything that someone experiences and wants to share through music. So,
and when you think
that
way, when you think that way, thinking about the direct support, it's a fantastic opportunity, because people do want that and do feel that. And my personal belief is that you change some small parts of people's life when you are making a good song, when they are hearing you singing, playing, whatever it is. We just have to believe in that, because there is so much mistrust, frustration, and discomfort out there that even the artists don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that this is reachable for them, because they're saying the Era Tour by Taylor Swift, and they're relating to that and say, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do that. Man, you don't have to do that. And there's actually probably so much more than you can do. But again, we think that this is the best thing that we can reach.
Yeah.
I don't think so. No longer. I used to believe that. And I don't believe that there's anything bad in doing that. But just know, as artists, that there are a lot of other ways to do what you love most and to matter to people. Because at a certain point, the ego of an artist wants to know that we matter to people. Okay. So I heard a good saying by somebody a couple of days ago, I don't remember, that with internet, we have audience. Back in the day, you needed access to get on a television, on a radio show, something like that. Now we have audience 24/7. That's all we need. But we have to conquer an audience which sometimes is bored, is so distracted. So it's difficult, but we have audience. So work on your values, work on your communication, work on your why. I also help people in the mentoring is also focused on that. learning how to find your value is not easy. It's not easy. Because the first is like, why do you do music? Okay, because I like it, because I want people to connect my inner world with. Yeah, everyone got an inner world. Everyone. So again, go on, dig deeper, deeper, deeper. So yeah, and that's for me helpful. And again, the multiverse culture that I said before is that this is not a universal truth. It's just what I believe. It doesn't have to be the belief. Absolutely, absolutely. And
like
this is fine. Try and find people to connect with that believe what you believe in. That's all about it.
I feel like it took us 2 or 3 years to come up with a why, and I still don't know if it's right, but here we are. We're still trying.
Totally, totally. Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
think I kind of narrowed it down lately. And it was funny because 1 year and a half ago, I thought that I was on it. But then like a lightning bolt struck my mind and it's like, oh my God, yeah, I was deep, but I wasn't that deep. So now I got one level even more in depth and it's cool. That's fine.
I say all it does
Yeah.
is piss me off that I'm like, I thought I was low enough. Nope, still going.
Yeah, 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 totally, totally. And then one thing about Rick Rubin that I love about his quotes is that all the time that I begin a project, I put myself in the shoes of somebody who doesn't know crap. I don't know. So with this mentality, I'm always researching. I'm an always student. So that's why you're why the best song, the best monetization, the moment of reward, don't think about it's like a one-time destination. It's not. It's the journey. I know that we heard this quote so many times that it lost sense, but it is. It's actually is.
No, I would agree with you. I've been enjoying many years of journey. It'd be nice to you don't know where you're always going, but I know that someday I'll hopefully know where that is.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I mean, as an artist, I think that if you do not conceive this as a journey, you're not being an artist. You might be an entertainer. You might be a musician, but you're not an artist. Being an artist is nothing about a profession. It's a state of being.
Mhm.
And that not says me. I mean, it's said by many other more important people or people that have achieved a lot of bigger things. Being an artist is a state of being. So
Mhm.
you gotta accept this nature first, because as long as you struggle against it, you won't be getting anything juicy out of that, because it works against you and not for you.
Now I have to go and think about that after this.
No, it's something that like I said, read the book and you will know it.
Okay.
Because in my opinion, like I said, an artist is something. And also read another book which is by Julia Cameron. It's called The Artist's Way,
Mhm.
and it's
Oh,
very it's
have had that recommended to me, and I realized I forgot about it. Yeah.
so creativity and art is about vibration, is about state of being. It has nothing to do with the way you make money. You might be a great artist and paying your taxes with nothing. But if you want to make art your profession, then you got to know both sides. And
Mhm.
it's funnily, you will learn how many things are entirely, they're completely the opposite. You were mentioning before, like staying true to yourself or selling thing. The creative act is something so disruptive for logic that you would be surprised about it. But that's what it is. That's what it is. It's like love. When you love somebody, and I don't know, you love a person who is broke, who is not mentally stable. It's not logical, but it's love.
Mhm.
And creativity many times works like that. Best ideas are not making any sense, anything at all.
It's like the unconditional love thing, the unconditional artist. It's deeper than the surface level tactics.
That's what I believe, at least. And it's not that everybody has to agree with me, but I do believe in this words. And that's why I'm recommending everyone the book by Rick Rubin, because at least is a person who is living the life of the artist. I mean, he's produced records. Everybody knows who he is in the music industry. But when he teaches you, when he speaks about creativity, he doesn't speak anything about technique, doesn't speak anything about the equalization, the compression, and blah blah blah. It speaks at a different level, and that's the part. You might resonate with it or not, and that's fine. But just hear that and try to see if perhaps your barriers are being brought by yourself, because most of the times is what it is. One other quote, I don't remember if it's by him, is like, the only one we are competing with is ourselves in music.
Totally agree. It's not a competition sport, and everyone treats it like competitive sport, but it's not. It's you on you, and you just got to keep getting better and better and find everything you just said. So.
Yeah. And then put passion in what you do, because man, it's so great. It's so great doing music that we can do it. That if we do it with like one set eye, and it's like, well, yeah, making music, but everything is shit, it's falling apart. Come on, I mean, yeah, you know.
It's gonna fall apart anyway, so don't worry about it.
Exactly. So, so it's good to go to the other world, or I mean, go to the paradise with good music before than with shitty music. So let's put it this way.
This is all just the opening act to that. Well,
totally.
I want to point out. First, I want to thank you for doing this. This has been awesome. I'm glad we got a chance to do this, and hopefully we can do a few more of these. I think.
Absolutely, I love it.
I do want to point out that Jake is one of the many specialists listed on the 11 website. So you go turnup211.com and click on our specialist link at the bottom. You'll find them all. Jake is also occasionally in our community, so if you are interested, it is free to join. We'd love to have you there, and we answer questions and help artists do what they love to do. Or I'm sorry, musicians, depending on if you get to the artist state, according to Jake, or if you're just at a musician level. It depends on what.
Probably someone is gonna hate me. I know that, but that's fine. I take it. It's part of the journey. It's part of my journey.
This will be the clip that goes viral on some platform, anyway.
But not for the right reasons. Probably because everybody is throwing hatred at us or at me. No, please, guys, don't address any hatred to Matt, because he has nothing to do with that. I take full responsibility for my own acts.
No publicity is bad publicity. Anyway. Well, thanks again, and I appreciate you doing this.
Thanks, man.